rising from the desert sands of Egypt, towering, silent, unyielding. They have stood for over 4,500 years, outlasting empires, outliving kings. The pyramids of Giza are more than just tombs. They are riddles carved in limestone, monuments to a forgotten genius, testaments to a power we no longer understand. Who built them? How were they constructed with such impossible precision? What knowledge did these ancient builders possess that we have lost? The Great Pyramid, 2.3 million stones, each weighing tons, aligned with celestial bodies to fractions of a degree. No blueprints, no cranes, no lasers, just will, mathematics, and a mystery that refuses to fade. Was this the peak of early civilization, or a whisper from an older world, buried beneath history? In this documentary, we unravel the secrets of the pyramids, their purpose, their impossible architecture, their mathematical wonders, and the strange theories surrounding them. This is not just about ancient Egypt. It's about the question that echoes across time. How did they do it? And more importantly, what did they know that we don't?
Before skyscrapers touched the clouds, before satellites orbited Earth, before mankind etched its voice into machines, there was sand and river and sky. And along the Great Nile, the longest river in the world, something began to stir. Not slowly, but with a brilliance that still confounds history. It was around 3,100 BCE, while Europe was still deep in the Stone Age and the rest of the world lived in scattered tribes. Egypt rose, not with chaos, not with war, but with order. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt under King Narmer marked the beginning of one of the most enduring civilizations Earth has ever known. A civilization that would go on to build monuments so perfect they would outlive nations, languages, and even memory. The ancient Egyptians were not barbarians. They were not fumbling in the dark. From the beginning, they were master organizers, artists, mathematicians, engineers. They studied the stars, measured the floodwaters of the Nile, tracked the seasons, and saw in nature the fingerprints of the divine. Life and death were not opposites to them. They were two halves of the same eternal cycle. At the center of this belief was the pharaoh, not merely a king, but a living god. The pharaoh wasn't just ruler of the people. He was the embodiment of Ma'at, the cosmic order. His role? To keep balance between heaven and earth. But balance required more than prayers. It required monuments, structures that would preserve divine order. Through war, through famine, through death itself. The earliest tombs, called mastabas, were simple rectangular structures, low and flat, made from mud brick. But they held one revolutionary idea, that death was not the end. These were the prototypes of something far greater. Then came Imhotep, high priest, architect, and visionary. In service to Pharaoh Djoser around 2667 BCE, he designed something the world had never seen, a stepped pyramid. 6 mastabas stacked skyward, the Pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. For the first time in human history, stone was raised toward the heavens. But this was only the beginning. Over the next century, pyramids evolved, becoming smoother, taller, more complex. Pharaoh Sneferu built not 1 but 3 pyramids, including the famous Bent Pyramid, an engineering experiment etched in limestone. With each failure came refinement, until finally, under Sneferu's son, Khufu, they achieved perfection. The Great Pyramid of Giza, 481 feet high, 2.3 million blocks of stone, a structure so precise, so massive, that it has stood for over 4,500 years. And we still do not fully understand how it was done. It was not built by slaves, not built in haste. It was a national project, mobilizing architects, laborers, astronomers, and artists. a society united in creating something eternal, not just for a king, but for a civilization's place in the cosmos. The birth of Egyptian civilization was not just the rise of a people, it was the rise of a mindset, that the heavens could be measured, that time could be captured, and that death, if prepared for correctly, could be conquered. The pyramid was not just a tomb, it was a belief system carved into stone, a message, perhaps, not only to the gods, but to us. It is easy to look at a pyramid and see a pile of stones. It is harder to understand what it meant to those who built it. These were not simple buildings. They were not just monuments to dead kings. They were machines for the soul. To the ancient Egyptians, life and death were not separate states. They were two phases of a single journey, like sunrise and sunset, endlessly cycling. The pharaoh, upon death, did not vanish. He transformed. His physical body was embalmed, entombed, preserved. But his Ka, or life force, began a journey into the afterlife, a perilous voyage through the stars, deserts, rivers, and judgment halls of the underworld. And that journey required preparation, not just spiritual but architectural. The pyramid was the launch pad, the gateway to eternity, a cosmic ladder carved in limestone. Its shape was no accident. The triangle, rising to a point, symbolized the rays of the sun. The pharaoh, buried beneath it, was believed to ascend those rays and join the gods in the sky. Every angle, every passageway, every chamber inside the pyramid was designed to assist in this transformation, to shelter the king's body, protect his soul, and guide him to immortality. But this wasn't only about one man. The fate of the entire kingdom was believed to depend on the pharaoh's successful journey through the afterlife. If he reached the stars, Egypt flourished, the Nile flowed, the sun rose. If he failed, the world descended into chaos. The pyramid, then, was not just his tomb. It was the heartbeat of an entire civilization, and so they spared no effort. These structures weren't thrown together in desperation. They were meticulously planned, sometimes decades in advance. Each pharaoh began his pyramid at the very start of his reign, because he knew, when death came, there would be no time to delay. Priests, engineers, astronomers, and architects worked in unison. Every stone was placed with cosmic precision, every chamber aligned with celestial destinations. One of the greatest mysteries? The alignment to the stars. The Great Pyramid is not aligned to magnetic north, but to true north, with a margin of error less than 1/20th of a degree. The air shafts, too, narrow tunnels that snake out from the inner chambers, were not for air at all. They point directly to the stars, one to Orion's belt, the celestial symbol of Osiris, god of the afterlife, another to Sirius, sacred star of the goddess Isis. These were not random. These were star maps built in stone. And the layout of the Giza pyramids, it mirrors the stars of Orion, not vaguely but precisely. Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, placed like stars across the sand, reflecting the heavens above. The message was clear: as above, so below. The pyramid wasn't just a grave, it was a symbol of cosmic resurrection. To build one was to recreate the first moment of creation, when order emerged from chaos, when the sun rose for the very first time. The pyramid was a myth turned into architecture, a legend made of limestone. It was the belief that man could defy death, not by denying it, but by preparing for it, stone by stone, star by star, and the result? Monuments that still stand, souls that still speak, and a question that still echoes. Did they build pyramids for the dead, or for the gods to remember them by? They say the pyramids were built by aliens, that they are too perfect, too massive, too mysterious. But the truth is far more incredible. Because the people who built the pyramids were human, and what they accomplished was nothing short of a miracle. Let's start with scale. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, originally stood at 481 feet tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty. It was the tallest structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. Over 2.3 million stone blocks were used in its construction. Each block weighed between 2 to 15 tons. Now ask yourself, how do you lift a 15-ton stone, 150 feet into the air, without cranes? How do you align them so precisely that you can't fit a blade between them? These are the questions that have baffled historians, scientists, and engineers for centuries, and yet it was done. By hand, by sheer brilliance, by labor, skill, and an understanding of physics thousands of years ahead of its time. So how did they do it? First, they planned. The Egyptians didn't improvise. They selected their sites carefully. On solid bedrock, high above the floodline of the Nile. They surveyed the land using tools like plumb bobs, levels, and a simple but powerful tool known as the merket, a kind of ancient star clock. With these tools, they aligned the pyramid to true north with astonishing precision, better than many modern buildings today. Then came the quarrying. The majority of the pyramid's core was made from local limestone, quarried just meters from the site. But for the outer casing, the smooth white shell that once made the pyramid shine like a beacon, they used Tura limestone brought from across the Nile. And for the internal chambers, massive granite blocks from Aswan, over 500 miles to the south. These stones were floated up the Nile on giant barges, hauled by ropes, manpower, and an intimate knowledge of the river's cycles. Once on site, the stones were moved using sleds over lubricated tracks. Evidence suggests they poured water over sand to reduce friction. This wasn't guesswork. This was science, applied centuries before Archimedes was born. But the greatest mystery? The lifting. How do you raise stones weighing 5, 10, even 70 tons? Many theories exist. Long ramp systems, spiraling or straight, built alongside the pyramid internal spiral ramps within the pyramid's structure. Counterweight pulley systems using sand, ropes, and wooden levers. We may never know the exact method because the Egyptians didn't leave behind construction manuals, but what we do know is this: they made it work. And who were these builders? Not slaves, as once believed, but highly skilled workers, artisans, masons, engineers. Many were housed in purpose-built villages near the pyramid sites. They were fed, paid, and honored in death with graves of their own. They were national heroes. The pyramid was not a prison camp. It was a national project, uniting the kingdom in a shared purpose to build eternity. Inside the Great Pyramid, the engineering becomes even more mind-blowing. The Grand Gallery, a soaring, 28-foot-high corridor built entirely of stone, perfectly angled. The King's Chamber, made from granite blocks weighing up to 80 tons. Some lifted over 100 feet. Above that chamber, 5 relieving chambers, designed to distribute the weight and prevent collapse. An early understanding of load engineering. No concrete, no steel, just stone, precision, and geometry. It wasn't magic. It wasn't aliens. It was human brilliance, the fusion of faith, science, and ambition. And it leaves us with a humbling truth, that the impossible is only impossible until someone does it. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build the pyramids. They rewrote the limits of what a civilization could achieve, with bare hands, infinite patience, and eyes fixed on the stars. From the outside, the pyramid is majestic. From the inside, it is something else entirely. A passage through time, a labyrinth of stone, a silence so deep it feels like the earth is holding its breath. Inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, there are no hieroglyphs, no murals, no golden treasures, only narrow tunnels, towering chambers, and a feeling that defies explanation. The pyramid doesn't show you what it is. It hides it. For centuries, explorers searched for treasure. But what they found was more intriguing. Engineering beyond its time. Passages without clear purpose. And in some places, nothing at all. The descending passage leads you into the earth, dropping steeply into darkness. Below lies a chamber cut into bedrock, the so-called subterranean chamber, unfinished, abandoned, eerie. But why dig this far underground, only to leave it empty? Then comes the ascending passage, a narrow climb leading upward to a remarkable structure. The Grand Gallery, 28 feet high, 153 feet long. Perfectly smooth, precisely angled, its ceiling formed by overlapping stone slabs that seem to defy gravity. No other pyramid contains anything like it. But it's what lies beyond the gallery that matters most. The King's Chamber, made from red granite, transported from over 500 miles away. Inside, a single stone box, the sarcophagus, carved from a single block. No inscriptions, no body, just an empty, echoing space. Some believe the chamber was never meant for burial at all, but for ritual, for sound, for energy, for rebirth. Above the King's Chamber are 5 relieving chambers, stacked like hidden vaults. Within them, something incredible was found, the only known ancient markings inside the pyramid. Red ochre graffiti, likely left by work crews. It names a gang of builders, the Friends of Khufu. And with that name, for the first time, the pyramid's builder was confirmed. Pharaoh Khufu, the man behind the greatest monument ever built. But the secrets didn't stop there. In 2017, a team of scientists used cosmic ray detectors to scan the pyramid. What they found shocked the world. A hidden void, at least 100 feet long, above the Grand Gallery. No entrances, no access, no explanation. What lies inside? No one knows. Some believe it could be an undiscovered chamber, others, a structural quirk. But for now, it remains sealed, untouched, silent, and the mystery only deepens when you look beneath the sand. Beneath Giza lie miles of tunnels, shafts, and tombs, some stretching out toward the Sphinx, some leading nowhere. Ancient texts speak of a hall of records buried beneath the plateau, a mythical library of ancient wisdom. Myth, or memory. The pyramids are not just structures, they are systems designed to obscure as much as they reveal. For every question we answer, 10 more appear. The further we go inside, the more we realize. These monuments weren't made to be understood easily. They were made to last, to endure, to protect secrets meant for eternity. Maybe the pyramids don't guard treasure, but truth, not of gold, but of something deeper. A truth about life, death, and what lies beyond both. Time is the greatest destroyer. It wears away mountains, it buries empires, it erases names, and yet, the pyramids remain. When the last pyramid was built, the world was still young. Rome didn't exist. Greece was just beginning to form. The Chinese dynasties were centuries away. But Egypt had already built monuments that would outlive everything. Why do they still stand? Because they were never just buildings. They were messages, carved in stone, sent across millennia, waiting for someone to listen. The legacy of the pyramids is not measured in stones, but in influence. Every great civilization that followed looked back at the pyramids in awe. The Greeks studied them. The Romans tried to emulate them. Napoleon stood before them and whispered, "From the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you." The word pyramid became a symbol of power, of hierarchy, of eternity. That triangular form, wide at the base, rising to a single point, became a metaphor. It appears in economics, biology, spirituality, and architecture. The pyramids are in our language, our systems, even in the way we think. And beyond symbolism, there is legacy in science. The ancient Egyptians were among the first to standardize measurement. They aligned their buildings using the stars, creating astronomical knowledge still relevant today. Their methods influenced Greek mathematicians like Pythagoras and Roman engineers like Vitruvius. Without Egyptian architecture, there would be no Parthenon, no Pantheon, no Gothic cathedrals. The DNA of the pyramid lives in them all. But the legacy of the pyramids isn't just technical, it's spiritual. The people who built them believed in something greater than themselves, something eternal. They faced death not with fear, but with structure, with ritual, with hope. The pyramid is a symbol of that belief that death was not an end, but a beginning. In that sense, the legacy of the pyramids is not stone, but faith. Today, we still visit these monuments. We walk their shadows. We wonder how they were built. We ask why they were made. And in those questions, we find a mirror. The pyramids are not just relics. They are reflections of who we are and who we might become. Because when we look at them, we don't just see the past. We see the hunger for immortality, the drive to leave something behind, the belief that knowledge can outlast a lifetime. We live in a world obsessed with speed, novelty, and constant change. But the pyramids remind us that what truly matters takes time, that greatness is measured in centuries, not clicks. And perhaps that's the greatest legacy of all. Not that they lasted, but that they still inspire us to build, to wonder, to dream bigger than a single life allows. The pyramid stands still, but it moves us forward. For over 4,500 years, the pyramids have stood in silence, but around them, a storm of theories has never stopped. Aliens, Atlantis, energy machines, star maps, forgotten civilizations. People aren't just curious, they're obsessed. Why? Because no matter how much we learn, there's always something missing. The pyramids don't explain themselves. There are no blueprints, no diaries, no inscriptions detailing their construction. So we fill in the blanks with imagination, speculation, and sometimes fantasy. The alien theory. One of the most popular fringe theories claims the pyramids were built with help from extraterrestrials. The evidence? The sheer size and precision. The impossible logistics. The fact that modern cranes would still struggle to move some of these stones. But there's a deeper reason people reach for this explanation, because it's hard to accept that humans, ancient, toolless, pre-industrial humans, could achieve something so extraordinary. It's easier to imagine aliens than to believe in ourselves. But no artifacts, no alien tech, no advanced materials have ever been found. Just stone, sand, sweat, and human hands. Orion's belt and cosmic alignments. Another theory suggests the pyramids were aligned to the stars, specifically Orion's belt. The three main pyramids of Giza do seem to mirror the three stars in Orion's belt. The ancient Egyptians linked Orion to Osiris, god of the afterlife. Coincidence or design? We know they tracked the stars. We know they aligned monuments with the solstices, so maybe this theory isn't so far-fetched. Perhaps the pyramids were not just tombs, but celestial machines, designed to carry souls to the stars. The Atlantis connection. Some believe the knowledge to build the pyramids came from a lost civilization, often identified as Atlantis. The theory says a forgotten advanced culture passed down architectural secrets before vanishing from history. Plato described Atlantis as an empire destroyed in a single night, and many point to the precision of the pyramids as evidence of lost ancient science. But again, no hard proof, no Atlantean texts, no tools or techniques that don't match what ancient Egyptians could have used. Pyramids as power plants? One of the most outlandish, but strangely compelling theories suggests the pyramids were giant energy machines. Proponents claim the internal chambers are too complex for a simple tomb. The materials, granite, limestone, were chosen for their conductive properties. The pyramid's shape focuses energy from the earth or the atmosphere. Some even say the pyramid once glowed, beaming energy into the sky like a Tesla coil. It sounds wild, but the mystery remains. Why build something this massive? Just for a tomb? What we still don't know. Even today, the pyramids guard their secrets tightly. We still don't know exactly how they were built. We don't know what's inside the newly discovered void above the Grand Gallery. We don't know why Khufu left no inscription inside his own pyramid. For every discovery we make, a dozen new questions emerge. And that's what keeps the myth alive. The real power of the pyramids might not be in what they do. It's in what they make us feel. Wonder, doubt, awe, a connection to something older, bigger, and stranger than we'll ever fully understand. Maybe that's what they were meant to do all along. Not to answer, but to awaken the question. We talk about the pyramids as wonders of the world, but we rarely talk about the people who built them. Who were they? Were they slaves, foreign captives, or something else entirely? For centuries, popular imagination painted a picture, endless lines of slaves whipped under the desert sun, forced to drag stones generation after generation. That's the image Hollywood gave us. That's the story we believed. But archaeology tells a different story. Workers, not slaves. In the 1990s, a discovery near the Giza pyramids changed everything. Buried beneath the sand were the remains of workers' villages, complete with bakeries, breweries, and medical centers. These weren't slave camps. They were communities, organized, structured, human. The bones found in the cemeteries showed signs of hard labor, yes, but also medical treatment. A man with a crushed spine had lived years after his injury. His wounds had been treated. Someone cared. Feeding an army of builders. These workers weren't underfed prisoners. They were given high-protein diets, beef, fish, bread, beer. The scale of logistics is staggering. Every day it's estimated that 21 cattle, 23 sheep, thousands of loaves of bread and gallons of beer were consumed by the pyramid crews. These people weren't just laborers. They were part of a national project. Building the pyramids wasn't punishment. It was service, possibly spiritual duty. Skilled craftsmen and engineers. The idea that unskilled mobs built the pyramids collapses under scrutiny. The masonry was precise to fractions of an inch. The angles, alignments, and chamber placements required advanced planning. Stonecutters shaped multi-ton blocks using copper chisels, dolomite hammers, and sand-based abrasives. Rope pullers, lever operators, ramp builders, all coordinated with military precision. These weren't slaves. They were specialists, engineers, artisans, and labor crews working together under a command structure. Their names survive. Inside the pyramid's hidden spaces, builders left behind graffiti. In red ochre, they scribbled crew names, the Friends of Khufu, the Drunkards of Menkaura. These were not the marks of slaves. These were signatures, proud acknowledgments of their work. Imagine it. You've helped build one of the greatest structures in history, and deep inside, where no one else may ever go, you leave your name. A national effort building. A pyramid wasn't just construction. It was a nation-building exercise. Farmers worked during the off-season when the Nile flooded their fields. Nobles oversaw logistics. Priests managed rituals and alignment with the heavens. For 20 to 30 years, an entire society moved with one purpose: to build something eternal. It united Egypt, not through slavery, but through vision. The Great Pyramid wasn't built by force. It was built by belief. Belief in an afterlife, belief in the divine Pharaoh, belief that their work would be remembered for thousands of years. And they were right, because here we are, still talking about them. Next, we leave Egypt behind to uncover a global phenomenon, because pyramids weren't just built in Giza, they were built across the earth by people who had never even heard of each other. But why? For thousands of years, the pyramid has been seen as Egypt's signature. But what if it's something more? What if the pyramid wasn't just Egyptian, but universal? From the deserts of Sudan, to the jungles of Central America, to the misty highlands of China, the pyramid rises again, again and again, built by cultures who never met, with no shared language, no internet, no trade. And yet, they all chose the same shape: the Nubian pyramids of Sudan. Just south of Egypt, in the ancient kingdom of Kush, lies a forgotten treasure: over 200 pyramids clustered in the sands of Meroe and Napata. They are steeper, narrower, often smaller, but undeniably pyramids. Built centuries after the Great Pyramid, these structures were tombs for Nubian kings and queens. Some still bear their decorative stone entrances. Others hold murals, inscriptions, and buried treasures, and yet most people have never heard of them. They lie in silence, erased by time, overshadowed by their northern cousins, the pyramids of Mesoamerica. On the other side of the world, in the jungles of Mexico and Guatemala, another great civilization was rising. The Maya and Aztecs built pyramids not for tombs, but for rituals, sacrifices, celestial alignment. The Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan is as wide as the Great Pyramid, a mountain of stone climbing toward the sky. In Chichen Itza, the Pyramid of Kukulkan casts shadows during the equinox that slither like a serpent down its steps. These weren't tombs for kings. They were temples for gods. The Andes, step pyramids of Corral. Even earlier, around 2600 BCE, in what is now Peru, the Corral civilization built massive platform pyramids. No hieroglyphs, no stone sarcophagi, just enormous structures for ritual and ceremony. Long before the Inca, long before even Mesoamerica's rise, there were pyramids. The lost pyramids of China. In China's Shanxi province near Xi'an, mysterious earthen pyramids dot the landscape. The most famous, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, home to the terracotta army. It's shaped like a stepped pyramid, and according to ancient texts, inside lies a model of the universe, rivers of mercury, a ceiling of stars, a map of heaven and earth. Chinese authorities restrict excavation. Some say it's to preserve history. Others believe something else lies inside, a global pattern or a shared instinct. Why did so many cultures, separated by oceans and time, build pyramids? Some say it's just practical-ing. Wide base, tall structure, stable design. Others think there's something psychological or even spiritual about the pyramid, a symbol of ascent, of power, of connection between earth and sky. Or maybe it's something deeper, a universal pattern encoded in the human mind, a cosmic memory, a forgotten language of stone. We didn't just build pyramids, we dreamed them, across continents, across centuries, across worlds. But some pyramids were never finished. Some were buried, forgotten, lost to time. Until now, we remember the pyramids that stood the test of time. But what about the ones that didn't? What about the pyramids that collapsed, that were abandoned halfway through, or buried so deep the world forgot they ever existed? Every masterpiece has its failed prototype, every legend, its broken path. This is the other side of the pyramid story. The pyramid that collapsed, Meidum. In the windswept desert near Fayum, Egypt, stands a ghost of a pyramid, the Meidum Pyramid. Once a shining step pyramid, later smoothed into a true pyramid until it collapsed. Only its core remains, like a giant stone tower standing alone. Scholars believe it fell due to poor planning, or a rushed timeline, or misjudged materials. Was it a tragic failure, or an experiment on the road to Giza? Whatever the reason, it became a lesson carved in rubble. The bent pyramid, flawed or genius? South of Giza lies one of the strangest pyramids on Earth, the bent pyramid of Dahshur. At first it rises steep, but halfway up the angle changes. It suddenly bends inward like a broken silhouette. Was it a design flaw? Did the structure weaken during construction? Or was it intentional? Recent evidence shows it's stable. Internal chambers are precise, and it was completed, not abandoned. Some now believe the bent design represents a transition from earth to sky, from body to spirit. A pyramid caught between two worlds, buried by time, pyramids beneath the sand. In the desert north of Sudan, archaeologists discovered something unexpected. Entire pyramid fields, lost beneath centuries of drifting sand. From above, only the tips are visible. The rest lies hidden, waiting for rediscovery. And Egypt? It's likely filled with unmapped pyramids, especially in the unexplored regions of Saqqara and the Western Desert. Infrared satellite scans have revealed odd geometric shapes. Some say they're just rock formations. Others, buried structures, man-made, forgotten. The pyramid that never was deep in the Peruvian jungle, explorers have long spoken of a legendary structure. The White Pyramid of the Amazon. Enormous, ancient, and never found. Photos from pilots in the 1940s show a triangular formation hidden in thick vegetation. But no confirmed discovery has ever followed. Is it just a hill? A myth? Or something the forest still guards? What are we missing? Around the world, pyramids lie hidden, beneath the jungles of Cambodia, buried under modern cities in Turkey and Mexico, disguised as hills in remote Chinese valleys. Some were abandoned, others erased by war, nature, or history itself. But the shape remains, in stone, in myth, in the Earth's memory. The unfinished pyramids remind us that not every ambition survives. But even failure leaves a footprint, a shadow, a lesson. We built mountains from stone, and some of them broke, but even those broken dreams are still part of the story. Now, one question remains. Why did we build them at all? Was it power, faith, cosmic memory, or something we've yet to understand? In every age, humans have looked up to the sky, up to the stars, up to something greater. And what did we build to capture that longing? Pyramids, from stone to symbol. Whether in Egypt, Sudan, Mexico, China, Peru, or the jungles, still untouched, the pyramid endures. A shape that whispers to something ancient in us, something primal. It's not just a structure. It's a symbol, a monument to belief. Belief in gods, belief in kings, belief in eternity. They were not just monuments. The pyramids weren't simply tombs or temples. They were messages. Messages to the future. Messages to us. Written in stone. Built to outlast time. And here we are, 4,000 years later. Still listening. Still wondering. Still trying to understand how and why they did it. What the pyramids teach us. In a world obsessed with speed, technology, and disposability, The pyramids remind us of patience, of craftsmanship, of human will shaped into something eternal. The pyramids were never just about power. They were about purpose. Purpose that outlives a generation, a dynasty, even a civilization. What will we leave behind? That's the question the pyramids ask us. The pyramid, then and now. Some say the pyramids were built for the dead, but the truth, they were built for the living, to teach, to inspire, to connect us across time, to remind us that humans are capable of building wonders. Not because we have machines, but because we have vision. Subscribe to uncover more ancient secrets, like if you were inspired. Comment your theory. Who built them and why? And don't miss what's coming next.